Is it a ripoff of AC/DC? A little bit, but
Maybe
is
a little
totally
bit.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Definitely.
right. Let's get to it. Cracking a beer. Congrats on another week, boys. It is week 6 in the other league. Week 5 is in the books. And my, oh my, am I glad that it's in the books. I am your host, your fearless leader, your commissioner, Christopher Chase Edmonds, also known as the team manager of the now 1-4 St. Brown in the Broken Zones. I'm joined by co-host extraordinaire Scott Sharp.
Also 1-4, but with a different tone because we're happy to be 1-4 tonight.
First win for Team Grit. How you
First
liking it?
up, I've slept so good the past 2 nights.
Weren't sleeping well until now. Welcome to the 1-4 Club. And speaking of the 1-4 Club, we are joined by our special guest. He's the pride of UAB baseball, spits fire, and outkicked his coverage more than any of us with his partner of choice, Corey Eller.
Yeah, 100% truer words have not been said. Yeah, my team is the Pits. So riding a solid losing 3-game losing streak right now. It's my team is not so much the Pits.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling. The 3-game losing streak is tough. Started off with a win, and then it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah.
Is that why you got kicked out of your house and you're coming to us from the sketchy motel down the road?
Yeah, the America's Inn that I'm at down the road. You know, it's it's not fun.
That's what happens when you get on a 3-game losing streak. You have to stay in a hotel that takes cash.
In cash only.
Yep. All right, so we're going to start off with the recaps. Let's take a look at the scoreboard from week 5. Starting off on my screen is my matchup against Alex Orbeck, which came down to a Monday night miracle from Travis Kelce, putting up 33.5 points on the back of 4 touchdowns. I swear to you, I left work and turned on my car and the radio right as Travis Kelce caught his 2nd touchdown and immediately wanted to quit fantasy football for good. It was like at that point, I knew it was over. I started off strong with Austin Eckler putting up 35, but when it comes down to Derek Carr versus Travis Kelce, I just had a bad feeling going into it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's the same story, different week for Orb. I mean, every player consistent. Russ obviously 9 points, and the Packers D at 3 points, but like everything else solid. You know, that's how you put up 133. Tough to lose by 3. I think that's going to be a theme possibly tonight.
I'm not entirely sure what score you're looking at. I lost by 14. It was 131 to 145.
I'm doing the web app today instead of my phone. I don't like it.
Yep. Next matchup, we had Alex Dragon taking down our reigning champion, Matt, 175.46, our new league high, which was originally set by Matt in week 2 at 170. On the backs of Leonard Fournette, 35, Tyler Lockett, 27, Derrick Henry, 27, and the list goes on. Scott, this was an absolute dominant performance from Alex Dragon's team. And really, I was only keeping up with it in the group me. I really wasn't watching these games. These are not teams that I keep up with for the most part, but in the group me, this was pretty spicy.
Is it time to admit that we've been sleeping on Alex Dragon? Is it time to admit like we have not given him maybe the love and the attention that he deserves?
I don't really know what to make of Alex Dragon in the group. I feel like he tries so hard, but I will never forgive him for making us switch to GroupMe because he's the only one who doesn't have an iPhone. So I think you have to keep setting league highs for me to get over that.
How many league highs does it take?
Yeah, Corey, bring up a good point. Talking about the quarterback.
Guys starting Jared Goff. I mean,
say what you want. Jared Goff projected 17 points going into the week, put up an absolute goose egg, 0 points from the Detroit Lions that were like America's new favorite hot newness.
Yeah, tell me about it when you have the over in the game and it doesn't even come close.
What do you remember what the over was that you bet?
God, it was probably like 52 or 53. I would have to go look, but
I had high hopes. Yeah, and just tell me, is that higher or lower than the 29 total points scored by New England and 29 total points scored in the game.
A little under.
Yeah, that's tough. But congratulations, Alex Dragon, putting up a new league high.
How about the turnaround real quick from Leonard Fournette putting up 35.9 after his wild-ass 18 points with negative yardage that he did last week, and then he just fucking goes ham for 36 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
so I've made this point to Scott previously, but, with this lineup, the only thing he was missing was Jared Goff putting up 5, and then Greg Joseph, his kicker, only putting up 1. If he had if he had a solid quarterback in there, imagine any of the top 8 quarterbacks that have been decent before you get to the wasteland, any of those quarterbacks putting up somewhere closer to 15 points and then a decent game from a kicker, he might have actually broken 200.
Oh, easy.
Here's a question I have. What college program has the most NFL quarterbacks in the league?
Is this a trivia question? Because I think I know the answer, but I'll give.
I don't have the answer. I think I know it, but I don't have it. It's got to be Bama, right?
It's got to be Bama. They got what, 3?
Think so,
right now?
Scott. While I'm doing the next recap, look that up and let's see if we're right. I do think it's Bama because you got to figure it's Mac Jones, it's Tua, it's Jalen Hurts.
Jalen.
Who else are we missing?
There's one more, right?
Yeah,
I don't think McCarron's.
Look that up while we move on. So next matchup, we had Wesley going up against Patrick Dragon. Wesley losing in a close matchup, 122 to 130. Patrick coming through with Josh Allen. It would be so nice. It would be so nice to have Josh Allen just averaging 30 points a game.
Yeah, we're also not going to bring up Josh Allen while I'm on here.
Why is that?
I didn't keep him.
Ooh, what do you mean didn't keep him? You want to talk about it? I mean,
I really don't want to talk about it. It was mismanaging at its finest. Let's just put it that way.
Wait, could you have kept Josh Allen?
You had the chance to keep him, and you didn't.
He was my 3rd round pick last year, so I could have had him in the 1st round, and I wanted a different pick, and it really turned out well.
Yikes! Now that's a move that I'll tell you what, Corey. That's a bold move, and that move really pays off if you still get the number 1 pick and you get to pick him right back up. That move really pays off in that way. But man,
well,
you live and you learn.
Yeah,
tough. All right, and now a fun one because we have Scott who can talk about it. We have the Birchton Ballers putting up a respectable 100 points, getting to triple digits, but getting out-gridded by Scott and Team Grit, 103. Give it up for the man.
You son of a bitch. You took my punchline. I was going to use the Grit. Win. I had it big time. But that was about 3-point win that I was talking about earlier.
Nice.
I know.
Yeah. Look at you. Look at Alvin Kamara coming back with 23 points. Alvin Kamara had a slow start to the season. I don't think he was entirely healthy. Just speaking as a Saints fan watching those games, never really saw Alvin Kamara have that burst that he was supposed to have. And then Carson Wentz showing up for you, 21.8. It's the Carson Wentz roller coaster rides again.
That is the story for sure of the week for Team Grit. No doubt about it. That's what I've talked about every single week. That is what I need. And then you look at Kirk Cousins, 22.2 on the bench. Yep. Wow. All of a sudden have quarterback options now,
Yep. Any chance you want to trade me one of those quarterback options?
For a running back, yeah, I can do that.
Okay, all right, we'll talk after this.
He's all about trying to get that backup quarterback.
I need a running back.
Dude, I need a quarterback. Let's talk. We'll talk after this. On the other side of that matchup, we did have Teddy Bridgewater going out of that game, putting up 0.0. I don't know what's happening in Miami, but it seems like the Miami quarterbacks are cursed. And wishing the best for Teddy B. We love Teddy B in New Orleans, so.
Teddy B, I actually tied for a $5 bid last week to help try to supplant my quarterback situation. Lost out to, obviously, Gavin.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that Gavin and you – I forgot about that. You guys tied on the bid for Teddy Bridgewater. He got Teddy B, started him against you, and, you can't predict injury. So, in a weird way, your team did take advantage of that unfortunate situation. But, hey, a W is a W. It's fantasy football. You can't predict them. So, we move on, and welcome to the 1-4 club. Now we have ourselves a matchup trying to stay out of the toilet bowl. Going on to our last matchup of week 5, we had Corey Funderburg putting up 128 points against our special guest and lowest scorer of the week, Corey Eller. In the battle of the two Corys, there is a clear winner. Corey, tell me about your 84-point performance.
It might be the low of the year, too.
It is not the low of the year. The lowest
that's...
of the year, in case you were wondering, is currently 74.44, set in week 2 by Gavin, the same week that we had a league high set by Matt previously.
That makes me feel a little
so
bit
you're 10 points clear of the league low.
Yeah, we're still good.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of single digits from running backs.
Yeah, let's just point that out. I mean, first round pick Najee Harris hasn't done absolutely jack for me. I mean, the guy's put up like 13 points high this year. Pittsburgh just can't get it going. Miles Sanders losing out. I mean, he's losing starting role. I mean, AJ Brown, Conklin goes for 0. Hell, Geno Smith, who would have thought? My best player right now. I mean, he's a top 5 quarterback. I mean,
yeah.
Kyler Murray has, I don't think, cleared 16 points, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are surprised by the Geno top 5 storyline. So we'll definitely talk about that. We've got a game coming up. We're going to play a fun little game called WTF. But first, let's check out the league standings. After week 5, there are now no teams in the league yet to see a win. Shout out to Team Grit getting back on the board here. In the East, we have Matt's team sitting at 4-1 now, leading that division by 1 game to Alex Warbeck, 3-2. And then the 3 of us, it's me, Gavin, and Scott, all sitting at 1-4, battling race to the bottom in the Eastern Division. In the West, we have Alex Dragon and Corey Funderburg both tied at 4-1. And then 2, 3-2 teams. That's going to be Wesley Fall and Patrick Dragon. And then Corey Eller sitting at the bottom of that division at 1-4. The 3 of us really are bottom dwellers in this league. It's safe to say we're all in win now mode just to avoid that toilet bowl at the end of the year. Corey, I know you don't want to give another presentation.
I say at this point, I'm kind of looking forward to it. You know, I'll just spice things up a little bit more at this point. So it's almost like repeat toilet bowl losers.
I mean, the benefit to you ending up in the toilet bowl again is that you already have the PowerPoint template.
Yeah. All I got to do is replex some names and go from there.
Is there any concern that we do an in-person draft at, say, the Buffalo Wild Wings and your PowerPoint actually gets put on the big screen?
I would put so much effort into the PowerPoint if that was to happen.
I would love that. There was talk of that in the group meeting. I am all for doing an in-person draft this year. I think that adds extra stakes to that last place punishment. So it just makes everything a little bit bigger, and I'm here for it. Now that I'm sitting at 1-4, I don't love it, but I will happily do it and put my all into it.
It's easy to say it when you're clear of it.
Now that I'm sitting at 1-4, I can retract my statements and say, maybe we look at something fun and creative. Yeah. Maybe we all discuss and make a poll or something like that and say, okay, does Corey, if he loses, have to dress up? Does he need to dress up as a female? I don't know, and do his presentation at Buffalo Wild Wings. That could be fun.
Yeah, maybe we just make it very specific to Corey Eller and nobody else.
Yeah.
Until then,
I don't know about the female part because these days.
Until then, we do have some roster moves to get through. We had 1 trade processed this week in the league, and that was no other than Corey Eller trading with our reigning champion. Corey traded away Raheem Mostert and received Chris Godwin. Talk to me about that trade, Corey.
So obviously, looking back on it, it was a good trade at the time until Mostert decided to put up 19 points this week and made me rethink some things. But I had just picked him up actually on the waiver wire a couple days before that, and Matt saw an opportunity that I needed a wide receiver because DJ Moore, Panthers have no idea what the hell is going on in Carolina. So I needed a steady guy, and God willing, he stays healthy. The dude puts up, 12 to 15 points pretty regularly. So I saw it as an opportunity to get more consistency in the lineup. So
Yeah. Who do you currently have in your wide receiver slots? Who are your other
So,
options that Chris Godwin is supplanting?
So taking over DJ Moore right now, other spots, AJ Brown, who obviously Jalen's been having a hell of a year in Philly. So I like having him in there. So also got picked up Rashad Bateman on the waiver wire. I know he's a little iffy, so I like having him on the back burner.
Journeyman Shoddy B, who I believe was drafted by Matt, dropped by Matt, picked up by me, dropped by me, now picked up by you. Before you know it, he's going to end up on everybody's bench at some point.
There's always got to be one guy. If he stays healthy, though, he's a flyer. Mark Andrews has got to have somebody else to take some targets. So
you say that, but Mark Andrews
he's just a beast. He's just a beast.
Yeah.
So if we get the ball rolling and get everybody healthy, there's a chance we get out of the duel. But not saying playoff material, but we'll at least get out of that 1-4 slump.
Yeah, and looking over at Matt's side of this trade, definitely made sense to trade for a running back. Raheem Mostert is now taking over that RB2 slot. He's got Melvin Gordon in there as his RB1. Down on his bench, he's got Travis Etienne, he's got Kareem Hunt, and he's got A.J. Dillon and Mike Boone. Lots of running backs, but no absolute studs like he has at every other position. So it made sense to trade away a wide receiver, seeing as how he has Kupp and he picked up Jefferson in that other trade that he did with Gavin. So I like the trade all the way around. Makes sense. I'm really hoping that Godwin stays healthy for you, and then there's value on both sides of the ball.
Maybe not so much for Matt, but yeah.
You know what? It's fine. I'm only wishing. I'm trying a new thing where I'm putting good karma out there because ever since my Amon-Ra St. Brown trade, my team has been cursed. Ever since I made that trade, I have yet to win a game. So I'm putting positive energy out there into the league, and I'm hoping
you can stay neutral, but I'll sit here and talk shit that I don't want Raheem Mostert to go off, because then I feel like an idiot.
Yeah, that's all right. I just got beat by Marquise Brown, a player that I traded to Pat to then beat me with. So that was always fun.
Yeah. Has Pat lost a trade this year?
No, Patrick Dragon doing extremely well on his trades this year. I think he's more keen on he's more keen on players than people give him credit for. I don't think Patrick really presents as a guy who's like knee deep in fantasy football content. But then I've tried talking to him today about a trade offer, and he was like, no, a fair offer is Breece Hall plus a piece for this, and this. And like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
He almost made you cry today, I think. Didn't you say he almost made
he did say mean things that hurt my feelings. He called me the worst team in the league. And I was like, that's not how you get a trade done. But also,
speaking of patent trades, we just had one come through on my end.
Really?
Actually.
You got a trade offer live on the show?
You got a trade offer live. Looks like send away Kyler Murray and get Tom Brady and Marquise Brown.
That's an interesting trade.
He's doing anything he can to get rid of TB12.
Really?
He's probably doing everything he can to get rid of Marquise Brown. I don't understand why he wants Murray, because he ain't throwing it very well to him anyway.
That's interesting.
I will take Murray.
Yeah, I'll take Murray off your hands, because he's going to get Hopkins back. He's going to get Hopkins back, and I think that's
Hopkins, but
that's also why Marquise Brown is probably on the trade block, is because Hopkins is coming back, and we don't know if Hollywood Brown is going to stay in that role he's currently in, or if Hopkins is going to eat into the target share.
Yeah, it's one of those, just
interesting. First live trade offer coming through on the show.
Right now, we can hash this shit out right now.
Yeah,
it was about 15 minutes ago. I just happened to see it.
No, but that's pretty great.
During the show.
All right, let's pull up the league projections real quick. Let's go and see how some of these most recent moves have affected current things. Currently projected at the top of the league, we have, according to ESPN, Matt projected number 1, Alex Orbeck projected number 2, Corey Funderburg 3, Patrick Dragon 4, and then on his way up, who started the league in 8th as the projections go, now moving up into the top 5, Wesley Fall. And then Team Grit moving on up a couple places from the bottom of the league now up to 8th. And then Alex Dragon moving up after draft day was in last place, has now moved up into 6th, projected 6th in the league. So could keep the momentum
Alex
going.
Dragon is only 6th. Wow.
Yeah, well, these are just ESPN projections. I don't think it factors in a lot of the human element to this game. At least that's what I'm saying, staring at my team is the Pits sliding from 7th to 10th, and then St. Brown the Broken Bones sliding from 6th down to 9th. So yeah, I'm gonna stay off of that. Yeah. Let's get into the waiver report. The waiver report is interesting this week. Scott, remind me again, you said that you tied previously with Gavin. Who was that for?
That was for Teddy B.
It was for Teddy B, and so you tied with him, and he got you on the tiebreaker, and that was like a $5 bid?
$5, yeah, $5 bid.
The big spender this week, Corey Funderburg, spending $35 on Kenneth Walker, unfortunately winning that tiebreaker against Team Grit, who also put in 35 for Kenneth Walker.
What do I have to do? What do I have to do here? And I thought about putting a random. Actually, I accidentally typed in 38, and I was like, "No, that's silly. Like, that's a crazy.
That's
I'm
dumb.
not going to put 38. I got to put 35 or 40 or 42 or whatever. I can't put 38.
Once again, losing in a tiebreaker to get the hot new waiver ad. Kenneth Walker taking pretty much the entire Seattle backfield and now going to Corey Funderburg. Can't wait to face that this week.
I think the thing with Kenneth Walker is he's not going to be an RB1, but he's a starting running back, and that's what I need. That's like I think anybody in the league would like that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a wasteland for running backs. If you don't have Saquon or maybe 2 or 3 other guys, you're really picking at table scraps.
Apparently Austin Eckler. Like I think everybody gave up on Eckler at the beginning of the season, and now
I got a lot of trade offers from a certain Wesley Fall for Austin Eckler when it wasn't going well, and I held strong. I bet
your bench would have been solid if you would have accepted that trade.
Yeah, it was a lot of 2-for-1 deals involving hurt quarterbacks. Further down the waiver report, we had other bids on Kenneth Walker: $31 from Alex, $27 from me, and then $25 from Matt at low bid. And then another pickup. I spent $8 uncontested on Kenny Pickett, believe it or not. I saw that Alex Orbeck had picked up Pickett last week when waivers ran, but then dropped him as part of roster management. I like Kenny Pickett, and the fact that he still put up 12 fantasy points against Buffalo tells me that there's potential. Unfortunately, to make this happen, I had to drop Deontay Johnson. So if anyone wants a wide receiver 1 from the Pittsburgh offense, you're more than welcome to have Adam. I just literally do not have room on my bench for that. We also had another player that was contested. We had Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst had bids from, it looks like 3 different players in the league. And the winner with a $5 bid was Corey Funderburg. So Corey Funderburg spending big and getting 2 players for a total of $40. Hayden Hurst at tight end and Kenneth Walker at running back. And then the only other notable thing on the waiver report, Alex Dragon, for all that we've talked him up, spent $5 on a defense and $4 on a kicker. Uncontested, obviously.
Uncontested.
Wow.
So
just set an alarm. Wake up at 1:45 in the morning and do that.
Wow. Yeah. No, that was definitely the other point of order there.
How many? Who else in your the previous years of playing fantasy football has fallen into this Hayden Hurst trap? I've done it multiple times. I've had him on my team.
I've never fallen into the Hayden Hurst trap because where was he? He was at the Patriots, right? No, I'm thinking of Hunter Henry.
I was in the Hunter Henry trap too.
Yeah, no, I've never fallen into Hayden Hurst. Tight end. Previously, I've had Darren Waller when Darren Waller was good. So
he was with. I think Hayden Hurst was with the Chargers. I think, right? Is that right?
That was Henry too.
Couldn't tell you. You're the only one who's fallen for that honeypot.
You think it's sweet, right? You think it's sweet honeypot. It's not.
It's the hair. It's the hair. It's the red hair and the red beard with the Bengals jersey. It just looks good. People want to be a part of it.
There's something about a red beard. Red beard looks good. You want to believe in that,
Yeah.
All right. So that wraps up all of our business that we had to handle. We're going to play a fun game called WTF. But before that, we got to hop on another Zoom call. So we'll see you after this brief commercial break. All right. We're back. Cheers, boys. Scott, you still got your wine because you fancy?
Fancy bitch. I'm a
Yeah.
fancy bitch.
Corey's staying at the sober motel on Mormon camp. Can't drink. So
We'd like to highlight at this point, all of us on the call are live streaming the Braves versus Phillies game.
oh my
Suck
God.
it, Matt. So if there are any outbursts, that could be why.
And by all of us, you mean just you, right? Because I know Corey's motel Wi-Fi can't support it, and I couldn't give two shits.
I'm shocked Corey's motel Wi-Fi has made it this long.
Yeah,
Honestly, I am too.
dude, I've been playing PS5. What are you talking about?
Wow. Oh, you must have splurged. You got to pay cash for that too?
Nah, diamond member, baby.
Oh, okay, nice. All right, let's get into our fun game. We're going to play a game called WTF, and it's less of a game and more just kind of our chance to vent about what's something in the league now that we are 5 weeks into the NFL season, something NFL related, something league related, something player related, something that came out of nowhere, totally out of left field and just left you saying, what the fuck? I'll go first. My WTF is the Denver Broncos, specifically Russell Wilson. But what the fuck? We were all so wrong on this. To tell you how wrong we all were, NFL on primetime was wrong about this. We were all juiced up on the Russell Wilson revenge narrative. Opening game was going to be island game in Seattle. Russell Wilson going to cook. I don't like what he's cooking. I don't think anybody likes what he's cooking. That last Thursday night game we had with the Colts and Broncos, where we had overtime and still didn't have any touchdowns, should tell you we were all horribly wrong on what Russell Wilson was going to bring to Denver. And whether it's coaching from Hackett, Russell Wilson adjusting to the altitude, a new team, a new offense, who knows? Maybe Russell Wilson was just washed from the beginning and people who complained about him in Seattle were right. I hope that's not the case, but man, were we wrong. Just to tell you how wrong primetime was, the Broncos were scheduled for 4 primetime games in the first 6 weeks. That tells you how much the NFL wanted to push this narrative of them being back and back with a vengeance. Nothing. I traded away Russell Wilson and got off this hype train quickly, but man, it's been brutal to watch. So I'm left here sitting here saying, what the fuck with Russell Wilson and the Broncos.
So the Broncos weren't one quarterback away.
Yeah, turns out they weren't that close.
Turns out maybe now they're one coach away, right? They had their quarterback, they're one quarterback away.
Yeah.
Now they're one coach away.
They were one quarterback away from getting their one coach that they needed to get their one offense that they needed to match with their really good defense.
Yeah, that checks out. Really.
Yeah, it all makes perfect sense.
Okay, special teams.
I mean, honestly, defense-wise, super solid. Like watching Pat Surtain cover. I mean, he's like the Jalen Ramsey of the Mountain West, and I love it. It's so fun watching Pat Surtain cover and just like lock down people that you don't expect them to match up against. But man, that offense is brutal to watch. So not super fun football. Glad I got rid of Wilson, traded him for an elite wide receiver who just needs to get healthy for me. But what the fuck, Russell Wilson and the Broncos. Scott, what you got for us?
My what the fuck of the week is the fact that we have not one, not two, but 3 teams at 1-4 in the same division. That's nuts, right? That's insane. We can say it. The East is weak. The East is weak this season. The West is tough. You have West 4-1, 4-1, 3-2, 3-2, and then you have my team as the Pits at 1-4. Somebody's got to be the punching bag. I'm not talking shit. I'm 1-4 also, so I am not talking shit here.
Well, we're just gonna go ahead and make you 1-5 for that comment.
1-5. That's fine. You can go ahead and do it to me. I'm not. I have zero confidence at this point. But wow, 1-4. East is tough. It's tough. If you're in the East right now and you are a search bar to Cucks or your Orbs team, because I refuse to try to say that name on air again.
You have to
You
do
gotta feel
ayahuasca
good.
to be able to pronounce ayahuasca.
I've actually practiced it in case this moment came up, but I still don't feel comfortable with it.
Nailed
I still
it.
don't want to do it. I've practiced it, ayahuasca.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I think that's all right. So yeah, my what the fuck is just how bad our division is, and if you had a decent team, like, did we overhype also, or and Matt, maybe, I don't know. They just beat up on some shitty teams apparently with the three of us. I don't know. Nobody can really tell. I have an honorable mention as well. My what the fuck is just the ridiculous trades because he's not here to defend himself. I don't know if I would bring this up if he was even here to defend himself.
Yeah,
but
you get one chance.
actual,
You get one chance because he's finally not on a podcast, which makes Matt happy. But now you're gonna take shots. Let's see.
Yeah, Matt's gonna be pissed, and then the group me's gonna pop off as soon as because he watches this just to like.
You're referring to our number one fan, Matt? You mean super fan Matt Kumar, right?
I'm sorry. Wesley watches this just to see if his name's mentioned. He's going to be watching this at this moment. The ridiculous
craving
trades.
attention. Definitely didn't text me to make sure that he didn't have to do the podcast.
I'm good, right? Because I can.
Yeah, he was like, you guys got Corey, right? Like I can go.
My what the fuck is just his ridiculous trades and the way that he continues to defend them. And at times he also like kind of talks you into it. He's like, this is like a possible like top 15 quarterback and you don't have anything. And then you could have a bench piece here and another thing here. Like all of a sudden you rework your team with the trades that he offers you. And then you're like, no, what the fuck, right? What the fuck? This is a ridiculous trade. I'm not doing this. This is a starter for like 3 pieces. Like 2 of them are maybes if you squint your eyes and that kind of stuff. And it happens every week. That's what really just tickles me the most.
Yeah, it's like Monday and Tuesday. You're gonna get texts from Wesley Fall.
No doubt. I'm just like, are your Mondays slow? Like you have no work to do on Mondays and you just dream up the most ridiculous things. And it's the different iterations of them too. So like you kind of get the same trade 6 times before it's like, dude, I think we're good. Like this is just ain't gonna work for these 2 players and my one starter.
But he scouted out your team so he could try to talk you into it.
Yeah. So my honorary mention for what the fuck is Wesley's ridiculous ass trades.
So trading is an art and art takes practice. So maybe next season or the season after he'll be an artiste and we'll get nothing but handcrafted masterpieces sent to our inbox.
He's just working on his sales pitches.
The repetitions are there. I don't think he needs to work on the sales pitches. Great point, Corey. Yeah. Because again, I'll say it again. Like there's times where you're like, well, shit. Like maybe this trade makes, and then again you step back and like, no, what the fuck? Like no.
Yeah. All right, Corey, what you got for us? What has been super surprising for you this year?
So super surprising to like, what the fuck is Najee Harris and Kyle Pitts? What a waste of 1st round and 4th round. Hell, a keeper in Kyle Pitts for me that went up to the 4th round. I mean, granted, I know he's in Atlanta. Who the hell is even throwing the ball in Atlanta? But the guy should be able to at least catch a ball if he's not hurt. And then Najee Harris, I'm not even going to get on the Pittsburgh offense, as you know. I mean, hell, dropping a wide receiver 1 to pick up the quarterback because he's somehow going to put up more points. So it's just astounding. You know, you go into it with high hopes, and then it just drains it right out of you. But a good what the fuck is Geno Smith coming out of left field.
Yeah,
I think I picked him up like 2 weeks ago before he had his 28-point outing. And next thing I know, Topher's over here sending me trade after trade after trade, going, dude, what's it going to take to get rid of Geno? What's for Geno? I'm like, I can't get rid of him. I can't. He's my best player. He literally had my high points last week. I mean, granted, nobody I think scored in double digits but him.
What once again, credit to how wrong we were about Russell Wilson and Geno Smith and how that whole trade was going to go down. And also, I'd like to point out the response I got from Corey when I first texted him. My text to him was, I hate myself for asking this, but what would it take to get Geno Smith? And his response was, man, you are desperate.
But with that being said, he kept coming back and like, hey, man, you want Swift? Well, I don't even know if Swift's going to be the top running back in Detroit when he comes back, the way friggin' Williams has been running it.
Yeah.
So, like, I had to sit there and justify not taking a freaking top 5 running back when he's healthy and keeping Geno Smith.
Yeah, which I really put you in a mind bender right there. Really put you in a chokehold where you gotta do mental gymnastics.
If you would have told me even like 3 weeks ago that I would be fighting trades for a top running back to keep Geno Smith, I would have told you, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
But you look at that last 2 games on the road. At Detroit, 31.7. At New Orleans, 24.02. Like, shit.
I mean,
New Orleans too, which is not an easy place to play.
I say the Detroit one was kind of like, okay, like they're playing Detroit, I'm going to pick them up, and we're going to get a shootout, and that's exactly what
happened.
And 38-35 or whatever it was.
Yeah, highest scoring game of the year.
Yeah, and then comes out New Orleans. I mean, pretty solid defense, and just wears them out. So I mean, it's tough. I mean, he's going to have a downfall. I don't think he's going to keep it consistent. But at this point, I got to ride it out. Like, in a million years, would never thought Geno Smith would be in my starting lineup on a fantasy football league.
So two things here. One, I respect you for writing it out. And two, the keeper value, if Geno really does cement himself and they start to build around him a little bit. Like, I did not expect DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett to have a good year because of Geno Smith. And now they're doing just fine, not just in spite of Geno Smith, but he's actually making them pretty dang good. Like, that offense is way better than we gave him.
Not only that, he's spreading it out. I mean, you got to look at when Wilson was there.
Will Dissly is getting his touches.
That's what I'm saying. It's not DK and it's not just Lockett. I mean, everybody, even Penny at one point was getting, some stuff out of the backfield, but now it's going to depend on how much can they rely on, Walker to carry him. Because I mean, Penny was getting the touches, so
yeah. And I mean, after week 1, I was sending out DK Metcalf trades left and right. I was trying to do whatever I could to get rid of DK.
And Lockett was the same way.
Yeah, try to get something of credit. And to what I was looking at too, to your credit, week 1, 2 TDs, week 3, 2 TDs, week 4, 2 TDs, week 5, 3 TDs. Like you can pencil him in. He's throwing TDs. Yeah, he's slinging it.
I mean, to be honest, even if Drew Lock, I think he'd get a couple touchdowns if he was throwing it. But he's actually making the throws. He's not throwing, as many interceptions. I think he's at 2 interceptions this year. Like, it's not like he's doing anything crazy. So I mean, it's
you look at the schedule. It's not terrible. You get the Giants in a couple of weeks. I think their defense has been all right. Tampa Bay's defense has been all right. Like, I mean, shit, you got a quarterback. You have
he's there. He's there. So, I mean, if I can get Murray going, I mean, somehow he's still 5th in fantasy points, which I don't know how, but he is.
I'll trade you.
Yeah, I was saying I'll trade you too. Scott and I've got to talk. Scott and I've got to talk about quarterbacks, and then I got to talk to you about quarterbacks. It's going to be a whole thing after this podcast.
Speaking of DK, do you want DK for college?
Well, at that point, there's not shit to pick up in quarterback unless I take this Tom Brady trade. But I just don't think I could get rid of Kyler. Like you said, Hopkins coming back. I mean, and Marquise Brown. It's just tough that you don't know what he's going to do. You've never known what he's going to do even when it was with the Ravens.
To me, that's a 50-50 toss-up. When Hopkins comes back, either Marquise Brown ends up being the 2 on that team, and we see a significant drop in his opportunities per game, or what's going to happen with Hopkins is defenses are going to focus in on Hopkins, and they're going to leave those middle, the slant passes down the middle with Hollywood Brown, who's got.
But even Hopkins, when he was healthy last year, didn't really have much going on. So I mean, it's one of those you don't know what he's going to do. Granted, he's suspended; it's not injury, but.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. There's still a lot up in the air. It feels like we're 5 weeks in, so we know everything. Truth is, we're only 5 weeks in and we know nothing. It's a long season, especially with the additional week. I don't know. Yeah. So let's look ahead at some of the matchups. If you guys have anything else, we can talk about it once we get through this list here. We're going to start off. I'm facing Corey Funderburg, who is currently 4-1. I am desperate for a win just to get to 2-4. Currently sitting at projected at 111 against 112. Should be a tight matchup. We're both in bye week hell. The two of us have, let's see, I know on my team I have Derek Carr, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Damian Pierce, and Jamal Williams all on bye. And on the other side, we have Devontae Adams, who's on bye, could potentially get suspended after the fact, but for this week on bye, Josh Jacobs on bye, and Darren Waller on bye, since Corey was so heavily invested in the Raiders offense. So low scoring matchup, but should be kind of close. I'm going to see if Austin Eckler can carry me through that one. Moving on, we've got Gavin facing off against Wesley Fall. The projections don't look great for Gavin, especially with Teddy Bridgewater out, but I expect Gavin to make a few roster moves. Unfortunately, his backup QB, Ryan Tannehill, also out on bye. On the other side, we got Wesley Fall, who's shown up with Patrick Mahomes against Buffalo. That game is going to be my watch of the week. I can't wait to see Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. Even though the Buffalo defense is great, I expect Patrick Mahomes to pull out some wizardry like he always does. Can't wait for that game. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to skip this one. We're going to come back to it. And then we have Matt Kumar facing off against Patrick Dragon. That's going to be a pretty solid matchup. Yeah, that one we have Josh Allen on Patrick's team. We've got Jalen Hurts on Matt's team, both projected extremely high for quarterback. The interesting thing will be, how does Raheem Mostert face off against Minnesota now that he's got Raheem Mostert at his disposal? If his running backs show up, I think Matt has a good chance to win this one, but the projections say it's leaning Pat and leaning Pat heavy.
Pat?
Last one before we jump to y'all's matchup.
He's only got 8 in there.
Yeah, last one before we jump to y'all's matchup is Alex Orbeck facing off against Alex Dragon. It's a battle of the Alexes. Alex Orbeck currently projected at 135.7, highest projection of the week as it stands currently. Really, the only weakness I see on that team, the Packers defense is facing the Jets at home. No, I don't see a weakness on this team. Everybody's currently top 20 in their position rank except for Harrison Butker, who's been out. So I expect Alex Orbeck to take the Alex Bowl this week. Last matchup, and this is where it gets spicy for the bottom dwellers on the podcast. We have Team Grit, 1-4, 5th in the East, versus my team is the Pits, 1-4, 5th in the West. Who's it gonna be? It's a shootout. It's exciting. It's 117 projected total versus 118. Definitely not the heavyweight matchup, but definitely an important undercard fight. How are you guys liking your matchups going into this week?
Uh,
What was that for? I'm guessing. Hold on, let me guess. Is that for Chris Godwin, hoping that his hamstrings stay healthy enough to get through a full game? Is it for Kyle Pitts, hoping he catches a ball?
There's a lot. Kyle Pitts has got to be healthy too, so he's been dealing with hamstring issues as well. I picked up, I think it was the Vikings D last week, possibly. We were looking at maybe making a change against Miami, but it depends on who they throw out there at QB. But always scared of Mostert in the backfield after what he did last week.
Yeah, and then on Scott's side, you got Carson Wentz going up against Chicago in Chicago. How are you feeling about Carson Wentz and the current roller coaster? Are you on an incline or a decline with Carson Wentz this week?
I'm on an incline, I think, ultimately, because the first two games, I think he put up 25 and 24 or 25, something like that. Came back to 25. Is he capable of it? Yeah. Chicago, position rank number 10. I think that's like accurate for where they are. They're probably very middle of the pack. Like, that doesn't scare me that much, I think. I got to get another running back at this point in time.
I'll tell you what, because I was going to ask you if you're serious about starting Khalil Herbert projected 7.3, and I saw that your other option on the bench is Antonio Gibson projected at 7.8. I'm going to send you a couple offers here for Kirk Cousins because
so I just made the change. It hasn't updated yet, but I have officially put in Antonio Gibson.
Wow, so that extra 0.5.
No, it's big. Yeah, no,
117.5.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, at least Antonio Gibson's going to get touches. Khalil Herbert got nothing last week.
Yeah,
and last week I would say that was a managerial error on my behalf.
All right. Well, let's go into
a pretty solid matchup.
Yeah, this one's going to be close. I don't know if it's going to be super fun to watch, but it's going to.
I can see this being like I can see this being like a defense takes over, right? Like a defense scores 20 or 15 or whatever.
It's going to be that or the kicker. So
the kicker.
Honestly, I think it's going to come down to that.
All right,
here's everybody on our rosters are so like either here or here.
Right.
Are you ready? Here's my big bold call for this matchup. I honestly think both of your defenses outscore at least one running back and one receiver on both of your teams.
That's generous.
I think both of your defenses, because you have the Vikings. So Corey has the Vikings against Miami, now down to their third string quarterback with Teddy B as a backup. And then we have the 49ers defense on Scott's team, position ranked number 1, going up against Atlanta, that is a broken team led by a broken man in Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota hasn't done terrible though. Like, let's be honest, he hasn't been Jimmy G, which shout outs again to Wesley for trying to trade Jimmy G to literally everybody in the entire league. So Marcus Mariota hasn't been terrible.
Not been terrible, but if I'm looking at Marcus Mariota preseason and you're telling me that telling me that you have Drake London and Kyle Pitts and you're not throwing the ball to either of them
even that,
as much as you
Cordell
should.
Patterson.
Yeah, you don't love it.
Last week he's been without Cordell Patterson and Pitts. So I mean, he's had Drake London if he was even playing.
All I know is if I was running that flag football team, the play would be throw it to the big guys every single time. What are you doing?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see that matchup. But that's going to wrap it up. Do you guys have any closing arguments for us? Anything we didn't talk about that the league needs to know?
Not necessarily a closing argument, but I think we need to start talking about Alex Dragon. I said it earlier. I'll say it again. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's power with the dragon. I don't know.
Power of the dragon.
There's always power with the dragon.
Power with the dragon.
I would love to see a Dragon Bowl rematch between Patrick and Alex later on in the season and see how they fare. Because I think Alex Dragon is really, if you're right and there's power behind it, I would love to see them match up late season and see how their managerial skills match up against each other.
Do we get that at any point in time? Like, is there another?
Yeah, I can look that up. Corey, what you got for us on closing arguments?
That sucks.
That's it? That's all you got for us?
Ed Scott. I just had to say it this week. Any other time he's okay with me, but this week I just I'm in the East or the West, whatever fucking division. I'm in the West.
You're in the good division.
Wait, did you say I suck? That's
I mean,
only this week.
You guys are facing off
only this week.
Those records matter. So
records do matter. It looks like week 10 we get another Dragon Bowl. Well,
all right, week 10 Dragon Bowl. Can't wait to see it. Until then, we'll see y'all after the weekend. Cheers, boys. Scott, how we doing on that wine? Yeah, I mean, I feel like you should just crush that.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right. Good luck in week 6, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, boys.
See ya.
I should probably play some music, right?